Selenium with Java October 21 batch online training session 6. So in today's session I will discuss the very important topics from Java, which is the Java input and output operation, then the collection framework where I will try to cover array list, linked list, hash set, tree set, hash map, and lastly I will cover what is Java multithreading all about. So whenever I want to say that file input operation and output operation, right? So what does it mean? So you already seen, right, in our computer, desktop, laptop, does not matter. Sometimes we need to create files, right? We need to create folder, and we need to add some files. Can be Word document, Notepad, Excel. We need to add some content, right? After that, we need to verify the content. We need to read the content. Sometimes we need to write the data. So these are the different operations. It can be performed with the help of file input and output operation. So file handling in Java implies reading from and writing data to a file, right? So java.io package provides all the list of important class, right, through which, or maybe whenever I am talking about the class, and definitely in every class there will be some methods available, and through which we can read and write the data for the handling the files and folder structure. There are many ways to read a file in Java. We can use buffer reader, file reader, or file class. Similarly, whenever we want to write the data into the file, we can use file writer, buffer writer, files, or file output stream. These are the different few important methods I have tried to depict here for the file class. So you can see this is the method name, return type, and the description of the method. So can read. Are we able to read the file or not? So definitely it will display only true or false. Can write, similar way, if we are able to write the file or not. Create new file in case we want to create a new file. Delete if we want to delete the file. Exist if we want to check whether the file already exists. Okay. Get name if I want to get the name of the file. Absolute path as well. And the length means in case I want to check whether the how many what has been already captured or entered. Similarly, with the help of make directory, we can create the directory or the files. Whereas with the help of create new file, we can create the files. But with the help of make directory, we can create the folder structure. Okay, so let's try to create a folder here. So let's go to the project package, training package. So I have created a class called session 6. So that is the way through which I can create a folder. So definitely we need to call the file class. So if I call the file class here, so suppose say file is the object I am creating, equal to new file, and here you need to give the path of the file, right? That is the structure within the double quote. Can you unmute, mute in case you are not talking? Okay. So you could see, suppose say I want to create some folders in my D drive. So that is the path, and you need to give the name. So suppose say Selenium training, I want to create a folder here. So it will be your slash within the double quote. So D drive. So say Selenium training 31st October. That is the folder I want to create. Okay, and I need to close with semicolon. Then with that object, so here you can see the error message is there. So definitely we need to import the file class from the java.io package, right? You can see it is coming. Once it's import is successful, so there will be no error messages there. So with the help of file object, now I can create the folder .mk directory. If you press dot, all the important methods available in the file class, it will be displayed, right? You can see make directory, this error type is boolean. Now you could if we want to if you want to execute that code, so you could see, so nothing will be displayed in the console, but the folder structure will be created in the D drive. If you want to print something in the console, definitely you can write something as part of the SYSO, but let's view here. You could see Selenium training 31st October has been generated, right? Now say you want to check the existence of the file. So how could you check? You need to use exist methods, right? So once the file is already created, I am just not creating again. So I am taking the reference of the file path, then I am storing in some boolean variable, suppose say f1 boolean variable equal to file dot exist. You can see this coming boolean, return type is boolean. That is the reason we are storing in the boolean. Okay. Now I can use some if loop and else loop to check whether the file has been there or not. So if I use some if, so I will check whether it's true or false. So I will be using some if loop. If file already exists equal to true, then I can print something, right, that file exists, for checking the existence of the file from the consoles without going to the file's location. Okay. Or else, if it is not there, if it does not exist, so it will definitely, I can validate that it does not exist, right? If else file does not exist, okay, exist in the specified location. Let's try to run it. Let's see what is the output is coming here. File exists in the specified location because the file is existing here, right? So that is the exist method. Check the existence of the file. After that, if you want to delete the file, so you have to use the delete method from the file class. So here I will be deleting the file. File dot delete. You can see this coming, right? Also return type is boolean. So I am deleting the file. So after deleting, if you want to check whether the file has been existing or not, so you have to store in some other boolean, right? After removing it. So suppose say f2, I am just specifying another boolean variables which is f2. So after deleting, it will checking, and if f2 equal to true, so I could say that file did not deleted successfully, file is exist. Otherwise, in case delete operation successfully happens, so I can validate that file does not exist in the specified locations, right? So let's try to run it. You could see initially file exists in the specified location. After delete is happening, right? So file does not exist in the specified location. Now if you want to check here that in the D drive, so you could see here that particular folder is not available in the D drive. That's why you can create some operation on the different folder. So it is about the different folder. Make directory is used to create a new folder, not the file. Whereas if you want to create some file, so you need to use, right, you need to give some folder name and you need to use some any file extension. It can be CSV, it can be Excel, it can be Notepad or what document, right? You need to give the extension. So how can you create it? Let's with the same reference I can use it. So initially we will not delete it. Let's try to comment out, and instead of so we will be using the same structure, but here we need to give, suppose say in the D drive itself I am creating Selenium training plan.txt. that is the folder I am creating, right? So that is the file I am creating. Instead of folder, I am directly want to create a file which will name will be Selenium training 31st October. Okay. So after that, here you need to just, you are giving the path of the file here, right? This is the path of the file. So in the D drive itself I want to create, but after that if you want to create a file, so what is the command you need to use? What is the method you need to call? We create new file, right? So try to create a new file here. So you need to use that file class dot create new file. You can see here, create new file. After that, if you want to check, okay, we need to add some throws declarations. I can use some IO exception or exceptions. So basically, whenever you are dealing with the file operation class, you need to add throws exceptions. Otherwise, suppose say in case file is basically Java actually gives some suggestions, so you don't need to use it. You no need to worry about that. So now let's try to run the code. You could see file exists in the specified location, so it's got created, right? Okay, and if you check it here, you could see here the Selenium training 31st October file got created, right? Okay, so that's why you can create it. Suppose say I don't want to every time I want to create it, so I will be adding one more command called file dot delete on exist. Means in case it is existing, it will be deleted first, after that it will create the file, right? And after that I will be creating the file, will be checking it, and after that I will be deleting the file, and then I will be checking it again whether the file exists or not. Okay, so that's the line of code I need to perform, execute. So I am giving the path of the file. In case it is exists, so it will delete first, then again it will create the new file. After that it will check whether the file is existing or not, then it will delete the file, here not the folder, and after that it will check. Instead of file I can check, I can make it file, obviously. So let's try to run the code and let's see. Okay, we could see. Let's run one more time. Okay, file exists in the specified location, after removal it does not exist, right? So you could see here, so it is not there, so it is removed. So that's way you can perform different operation for the file and folder. Okay, let's comment out this part here. After that, suppose say again I want to create a new file and I want to check the different other properties here, right? Whether the file is read only, write only, if I want to get the absolute path of the file, length of the file, right, name of the file, I can get it, right? So I want to print out SYSO file dot can read, right? So definitely as and when I am reading the creating the file, I can read and write whatever I want to do, right? So definitely I can read it, I can write it. File dot can write. If we want to get the path of here, dot get absolute path here, you can see here. If you want to get the name here, file, just press file, and if you press here you can get everything, right? Dot get name, right? And if you want to take the length, get the length of the file here, file dot length, I think so, that is the variable name, length, right? So let's try to run it and let's see what it is giving. Okay, you could see here. So first initially it can write, yes, can write, can read, yes, get absolute path, okay. This is the path, this is the get name, this is the file name, and this is the length, because there is nothing is entered in the file, so that is the name is file, right? Now sometimes few of the important file you can make them read only, right? So how could you do that? So let's comment out all this part here. So just I am taking the reference of the file path which is already created. So initially I am checking that I definitely can read the file and write the file, right? So here it will be true. it will be also initially true. So if you open the file here, you could see here, so file has been deleted. So I need to create once more time. Okay, let's try to create the file here once more time, so that file will be available here. And definitely it will be true too. After the file is created, there is no need to create the files one more time. So you can see the file is there. So if you right click here and if you go to the properties, you could see here read only is not checked, written is not checked. So definitely it is readable and writable. And if you try to open it here, you can add something, right? Definitely you could add something. Suppose a test 1 2 3, I can save it, right? So it is not allowing me to write something. But now if you want to change it to read only, you can do it. How can you do it? So you need to create some importance methods. You need to call it file dot, what is the method name? Set read only, I think so. Yeah, set read only, that is the method name. So you are changing the file to read only. So read is possible, write is not possible, it will be giving you the false result. Okay, and let's try to see. You could see last one is coming as false, because it cannot be possible to write after you change it to read only. So if you want to validate it here, you could see that is the text document and some part is already entered, some document, text is already entered. Now you can see here it is checked, read only is checked, means it is only read only. You are not able to write anything in the file. Okay. So if you open here again, and if you want to add something here in the file, it will not allow you to save it. If you want to save it, it will give you some suggestion that save it as different file, but not in the save file. You could see it is coming as you need to save in different file. So that's why sometime if you want to really do something as read only, you can do it. So that are the different part you can do with the folder and the file structure. And definitely delete part I already covered here. The next one is how to write some data to the file. Okay, so let's remove whatever has been changed. Okay, and let's make it file set read only. Again, if you change it, I think it will be readable, write over only. If you read once time, okay, it is just changing the file to read only. So let's remove that one, or otherwise you have to change it to uncheck it. You will not able to do it. So remove that one and create a new file here. Let's comment out this line of code here. I'll be creating one more file with the same name. So file will be created. So file is created here. Now I want to show you how to write some data in the file, right? So definitely file class is already there. I have already created the file. So now we'll be using file writer to write the data, and to read the data it will be file reader. Please be remembered. Okay. So let's comment out this line of code here. So here you need to use file writer. Here instead of file writer, it will be file writer. Suppose say I can create a object called fw file writer. So new file writer, and you need to give the path of the file, whatever you want to write it. So you could see some error message is coming here. You need to surround with semicolon the lines of code. So you are getting some error message. So you need to import the file writer class from the java.io package. Now suppose say you want to write something, right? So I could see suppose say string write data, you want to write here string writable data, or the data you want to add, you are just creating a variable, suppose say add some data in the text file, create it. Okay, that is the part I want to write it in that file, whatever I am just giving the location here. Then I need to call another one. I already called file writer, I need to call buffer writer. So I will be creating a variable called bw buffer writer equal to new buffer writer, and you need to give the reference to the file writer, and you need to give a refer to the file writer object. Okay. Then you need to write the data. So how will be writing? You need to use bw buffer writer dot write. You could see some variable will come here, some method will come here, write string, right? So return type is void, so it will not display something, and whatever you want to write, you want to write some data. That is the data. You can change it any point of time, so it will be write accordingly. Then you need to close both the writer. So I will be first close the buffer writer bw dot close. So whatever you will be opening, every time you need to close them, and then I will be closing the file writer bw dot close. So that is the lines of code you need to write it here to write some data. Let's try to run your code and let's see whether that data is getting added in your file, whatever you given the path. Selenium training 31st October. So nothing is getting printed in the console, that is expected. Now if you could see the timing, 31st October 1726, which is the correct time here. If you open it, you could see add some data in the text file created, right? So that's way you can get the data. So I can edit the data, suppose say 31st October 2021. So I can edit it. Now I'll read that data. Okay, so I already written the data. I'll be now reading the data, whatever already did there. So here instead of file writer, so I'll be reading using file reader, similar way, right? Whatever changes I will be doing, I will be letting you know one by one. So instead of file writer, it will be file reader. So file reader effort I can use. Okay, file reader, I need to import the file reader. I need to import it. That line is not required because I will be reading the data. Then instead of buffer writer, it will be buffer reader. Sorry, for file reader, buffer reader. Buffer reader pure, here it will be effort. So I need to import the buffer reader as well from the java.io package. Then I need to just use an condition here, just while statement, so that it can be. So definitely I will be closing buffer reader first and then file reader, but before here I will be using some while condition. Let's comment, remove that one. So that is the condition I will be giving it. So while loop, I will be using while. So it is not file, it is file reader effort. buffer reader and file. Okay, while condition, suppose say I want to create a variable called text equal to buffer reader dot read line. So, I will be reading the line from that buffer reader class. So, read line, okay, string by string. Okay. So, definitely whatever variable I am declaring, I need to declare the type of the variable here, string text. So, I will be storing in the text. Okay. So, then if the text, okay, not equal to null, right, not equal to null. So, it will read it. In case it is null, it will not read it, right. Let us close it in another first bracket. Then what happens? It will print it out. That is the while loop syntax. It will print out the text in the console. So, that is the simple lines you need to write it. So, definitely I am declaring some variable, okay, that text. I am defining the data type. Definitely I will be considering the data type as string. Then first I want to read it, right. So, with the help of read line, it will be read line by line, right. In case it is not null, then it will print it. In case it is null, there is no point, because nothing will be there, so no, it will not print it. Then I am closing the file buffer reader, and then I am closing the file reader. Let us try to run it, and let us see whether that is part whatever is there in the file is getting printed in the console or not. Add some data in the text file, and it is created, right. 31st October, you can see here, that is the details we have added, right. So, now you can change it, suppose say Selenium training season 6, okay. Now save it. Now if you run it again, you could see that will be printed out again, okay. So, that is way you can deal with folder file, you can read the file, you can write the data in the file. Any questions?
Another, I actually did not understand the buffer writer and file writer. Can you please explain one more time? File writer. What is the use of buffer writer and file writer in short?
Yeah. So, buffer writer, actually if you want to write some data, whatever is present in the file writer, it will be written, okay, with the help of so file writer and buffer writer, they both will work to read the file. Similarly, file reader and the buffer reader will work to read the file, and buffer writer and file writer, in both the way it will try to write the data in the file, okay. So, I already mentioned here, you could see here. So, right, either we need to use buffer writer, file writer, and sometime we can use file output stream to write the data. Similarly, for reading the data, we can use the buffer reader, file reader, or the sometimes file input stream. So, that is the different way we can read and write the data. So, whatever you choose,
So,
sometime, yeah.
so so always for reading the data, we have to use first file writer and file reader and buffer reader.
Right. Yes. So, file writer is just taking the file reference here, right. So, and then with the help of buffer reader, you are storing in something, and then you are reading and writing, right, similar way.
Okay.
So, in a single
Okay, but
buffer,
this
yeah, tell me.
and this string data equal to welcome to Java. This is one. This is the file. This is the string we want to write in the text
Yeah,
file.
right, whatever you are right. Sometimes if you do not write, you can directly add the data here in the data variable with the double quote. Got it?
Okay. But double quote, it will be only data will be displayed there, right?
Right. So, where I have created a new variable, so you can change it anytime, otherwise you have to change it here. So, that is the
Yes.
variable, that is
But
the variable.
one more thing. Yeah, one more thing. Like in file, let's suppose we want to write long error message. So in that case, also we have to write like this, like
Yeah, you can write
string
it in
data
the
and that.
right, because it will be string only, right. So in case it is alphanumeric combination, it will be string only, right?
And one more thing, like if we want to write 3-4 lines, like number one, let's suppose number one something welcome to Java, number two welcome to Python, number three
Yeah,
welcome
you can use you can write multiple lines here, right? BW dot write data 1, BW dot write data 2, BW dot write data 3, data 4, like that. So it will be line by line. Okay.
okay, got it.
Yeah. Okay. Then I will go to the collection framework. So it will take a lot of times today. Okay. So collection framework. Did you heard the term collection framework? Anyone heard it? Anyone have any idea on the collection framework? So can you elaborate? Anyone elaborate what is collection? You know what is the advantage, disadvantage, why primarily use it? Whatever you know before starting on the session.
No, no idea.
Okay. Okay. Any other persons? Any idea? Okay. So why collection is required, right? So let me go from the step by step. So you already see the character, right? That is the data type we are having. So we can add one data, right? At the same time, it's only one numeric or alphabet A, B, C, D, E, F. So first character is come into the pictures. Then string, right? String is a combination of character where you can add multiple characters as well as alphanumeric as well as some special character, right? String is a combination of different data type. Then what it is coming? Then it is coming array. Okay. So first sometime interviewer will also ask the sequence, right? So why the collection framework came into the picture? So first character is coming and sequence of character is called string, and then the array is nothing but the set of similar data type, right? But one problem is the array is that I already mentioned whenever I covered the class array. You can refer the videos again. The once you fix the data size of the array, it cannot be changed. Suppose during array definition you need to give the size as 3, 4, like that, right? So once the size is fixed, suppose say your array size is 3, so it will consider 3 element, and if you give 2 value and other value if you do not give it, so it will take the default value of the data type. So in case it is a integer, it will take default value as 0. In case it is string, it will take the default value as null. In case it is double, it will take the default value as 0.0. So if you fix the size of the array as 3, you cannot add 4 element. That is the problem. And in case you are defining the data type as 3 and you are adding only one element, so other 2 element it will take based on the data type default value. So that is the problem. So one array size cannot be changed during the runtime. Once size is declared, it will be fixed in length. So to overcome this thing, collection framework came into the market. So there is no need to define the size of the collection. So whatever data you will be adding, it will take that size only. So it will take the dynamic size into the runtime. That is the benefit of the collection, and definitely lot of other things also there in the collection. So I will be explaining. So collection in Java is a framework that provides an architectural to store and manipulate the group of objects. So definitely collection also it will be similar kind of object only, but you no need to define the size. Okay, so you can add any number of times, you can delete any number of times, you can update any number of times. So that's benefit it will give you the collection framework. In the collection framework, there are primarily 3 important aspects available: interface, classes, and the algorithm. So interface is kind of representation of data type or abstract data type, right? Whereas classes is the implementation, and algorithms means the different methods available in the collection framework, right? It can be interfaces or it can be classes, through which you can add the data, you can update the data, you can sort the data, you can find the data, you can remove the data, right? So Java collection means single unit of object. Java collection framework provides many interfaces. You need to remember interfaces, classes, and algorithm. So these are the interfaces: set, list, queue, dequeue, and classes: array list, linked list, priority queue, hash set, link set, tree set, hash map, etc. So this is the framework structure I have tried to given is. So whatever is highlighted in blue, these are the interfaces. Whatever is green, these are the classes, and this signal size, sorry, this is the picture is implements, and the lower one is the extends. So you know, class to class extends, interface to interface also extends, whereas class to interface it implements, right? So you can see here the vector, array list, linked list, stack, those are the different classes, right? So stack is extending to vector class, whereas vector class, linked list, array list to implementing to the list interface. That structure you need to remember it. Whereas array queue and the linked list is implementing to DQ interface. DQ interface is extending to the queue interface. Priority queue class is implementing to queue interface. Similar way, tree set is implementing to sorted set interface, whereas linked hash set and hash set is implementing to set interface. Sorted set interface is extending to set interface, whereas set, queue and list, these are the different interface are extending to collection interface, and the collection interface is extending to the iterable interface. So this is the basic diagram if you need to remember, so that you can, this is the three side, if you just remember this three side, so it will give you very good idea on the collection interface. Okay. So first one is the iterable interface, right? You could see here, then the collection, then the list, set, sorted set, queue and DQ. So iterable interface is the root interface for all the collection classes. The collection interface extends the iterable interface. You could see the collection interface is extending the iterable interface. Okay, and therefore all the subclass of collection interface also implements the iterable interface. Whereas collection interface is the interface which is implemented by all the class in the collection framework, right? It declares the methods that every collections will have. In other words, we can say that the collection interface builds the foundation on which the collection framework depends. So collection framework is altogether the best framework where all the primary interface, list, set, sorted set, queue and DQ are extending, right? So I mean, this is collection framework is not very easy, so it might feel tough for you guys, but if you just rehearse something for some times, it will be very easy. Initial time you might find difficulty, because this is the very complex part of the Java. Okay. So list interface, list is kind of ordered collections interface. So you will be, whatever order you will be entering the data, the same order you will be getting the data. Okay. It can have duplicate values, whereas set, it represents the unordered set of element which does not allow you to duplicate items. But the problem is that, suppose say in case you are entering the element in the ordered way, but it will give you any random order. That is the problem. To avoid this thing, you can use sorted set interface, where it will definitely contain the unique element, but it will give you some ordered way, ascending order, right? From the lower to bottom, lower to upper, or from the alphabetical order it will give you. Whereas queue is nothing, but it will maintain the kind of FIFO order, which is nothing but the first in and first out. It can be defined as an ordered list that is used to hold the element which are about to processed. Okay, there are various class available: priority queue, DQ, array queue, which implements the queue interface. Whereas DQ is nothing but the double-ended queue, right? So for the queue, it will be first in first order, right? But for the double-ended queue, both sides will be open, right? So one side you can add or remove the data, and the other side also you can add and remove the data. Okay, so that is the basic difference, right? Interfaces available in the collection framework. Then I will go by one class, right? So that you can get some gist. Okay, but that part you need to rehearse for multiple times. Okay, okay, this is the very complex part of Java. So array list, I already mentioned. So array list is nothing. Okay, so array list is nothing, but if you just check it here, right? So array list, you could see it is implemented to the list interface. So what is list interface? Objective is nothing but the ordered way. Whatever order you will be adding it, the same way it will give you the output also. Okay, so array list, it will be allow duplicate element, because array list also list interface, it will take the advantage of the list interface or whatever it is implementing, right, because it is implementing the list interface. So all the things it will be getting it here. It allow duplicate interface elements, it maintains insertion order, right. So let's try to, and also it has some sort methods available, but in case if you want to sort them, you can use to sort it, right, you can sort them. So let's, I am giving some real time example here for to understand, so that you can understand it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think are we still sharing? I cannot see this.
Okay. Okay, might be some trouble. Okay, it got disconnected.
If you get, do you guys see the screen or is just me? Yeah, now it's coming.
Okay. So that is the different point I have tried to depict it here, but like you need to understand the basic 3 slides so that you can easily understand the different classes available in the collection framework. You need to understand the concept of the collection framework, the first 3 things, interfaces, implementation and the algorithm, and this is the structure of the collection framework, and these are the different interfaces you need to understand, so that you can definitely get a high level overview what of the objective of the each and every class is having. As array list is implementing list interface, so it will definitely take all the advantage from the list interface, right. So it allows duplicate element, it maintains the insertion order. So let's try to create an array list. So what is this, what is the way you can array list? Just like the array, you can create an array list, right, but you no need to give the size here, because it will take the dynamic size. So it will be similar way of the array, it will take the same data type only, you cannot store multiple data type in the same array. So suppose say I already mentioned wrapper class, right. So if you can remember the wrapper class, so I already mentioned that the data type is just a kind of they are not the object, right, in the Java. So that is the reason they cannot be used directly in the collection framework, because collection framework only deal with the object and the classes, right. So you need to convert each and every data type to the wrapper class. So int is the integer, double is the double, string is the string. That's way data type will be wrapper class will be there. So here instead of int, I will be using integer wrapper class. So I will be creating some variable here, array list. This is the variable I am creating for the array list. So similar way, I will be creating the object here. This is the AL object I will be creating. It will be new array list. So that is the syntax for creating the array list. Okay. Now you need to import the array list from the Java.util package. Now if you want to add the data here, you can add it one by one. So suppose I want to add data, so it's integer, right, so I can add integer here. You can see add function is coming, I can add integer here. So suppose say 30 I am giving, similar way I can add multiples value. So you can see whatever value, whatever data you can want to add, it will allow you. It can also contain duplicate element, right. So there is no boundary or no fixed size is there. That is the beauty of the collection framework. You no need to define the size. So during the runtime it will take the size. Okay. Now it's got added, right. Now if you want to print the value, you can use some for loop or enhanced for loop. So first I will show you the for loop, using the for loop. So you already know the syntax of the for loop. Integer I will start from 0, then I less than, because it is starting from the 0, so it will go till the size minus 1. Okay. So it will go till I less than array list dot size. Okay, so it will go size minus 1 I plus plus. Then if you want to print them, you can print it out, so ISO al dot get of I, that is the index. So there are some important methods available. So if you define the array, after that if you want to check the whether array is empty or not, so you can definitely check al dot is empty dot is empty. So immediately it will give you false, because after defining the array we did not added any value, but here after defining it array we have given it, so it will be true here. So initially it will be false here. So it is for all the collection framework, array list, linked list, hash map, hash set, everything same way it will behave. It will use a true. Is empty, yes, sorry, it will be true. Is empty because it's empty only, right? After defining it will be empty, and after adding the value it will be not empty, it is having some value, so it will be false. Now let's try to run it and let's see what is the output is giving. You could see initially it is giving true, then false, and then you could see here whatever order you have given, you have added the value in same order, it is displaying the value and it can contain the duplicate value. That is the beauty of array list. Okay. Now say you already added the value, no need of these lines of code. After that, if you want to remove something or add one new more value, you can add it. Okay, but the same order, whatever order you already given it, it will be displayed in the same order. So al dot add, I can add few more value, suppose say 100, right? I can add al dot add 200. So that's why I can add few more values, right? Then if you want to remove it, right? So al dot remove, this is the method is available here. So what you want to remove? Either you need to give the value or the index name. Suppose I want to remove index 1. So it is index will start from 0. So that second one will be removed, 40 will be removed, right? Okay. Then if you want to update something, so al dot set the new value through which you can update it. Suppose say 3, initially some value was there, but I want to update it to 300, so it will be updated. Then after that again, if you want to print out the value, you can use the same for loop and you can get the details here. So if you want to give some differentiation, you can also give it. So that is the segregation, you can get it, right? You can easily understand what is the segregation. Now let's try to run it. You can see initially we have 5 value, 30, 40, 50, 80 and 30, right? Now we are adding 2 more value. So you can see 100 and 200 is coming, right? Then we are removing the first index, that means second object. So 40 is not there, 40 is got removed. After that we are updating the third one. So here, so it's already removed here. So it is 0th element, it is the first element after removal, the second element and it is the third element, right? So you could see 30 is again getting replaced with 300 because I want to set a new value. So that's why it will be work. Okay, please remember. Okay, that's why it will be work. So that are the different importance methods available to deal with the array list. So in case you are dealing with the double, you can need to change the double and all the values should be double. In case it is string, so all the values should be in string. Because suppose say let's say you want to add some double value or string value. Let's see whether it's allowing or not. No, it should not allow. It is allowing. Now you could see error message coming, right? Okay, you need to change, convert to integer, or say it is you need to do some way. Okay, you can see error message coming. Okay, change it to. Okay, it will not be allowed. So, any questions from the collection framework on the array list?
Is it possible to pass different
No, that is the reason I am telling. No, only one type it will allowed. It is just like the array, okay, but the size of the array, whatever the problem was there, it will be overcome, right? So only similar type it will handle, not the different type. Then linked list, so it is nothing but the double way. I already mentioned, right? It is implementing list interface and the DQ interface. So DQ is the double-ended queue. So it will behave in the same way of the list, as well as it will take the advantage of the DQ interface. Means, suppose we will be adding that value. After that, we can remove the value or add the value from the both side, because both sides are open here. Because it is implementing both the interface list and DQ. So that is the linked list. Okay, let's try to create for the linked list. So here, instead of array list, I could say here linked list. So integer, let's go for integer also only, other one I will be considering as string. So we need to import the linked list variable. I need to change it. Okay, so same way it will behave. And here also I can change it. Yeah, also I need to change it. So the whatever behavior is having of the array list, it will also have the same behavior. So it can contain duplicate value, right? 1 second. Linked list. What is the message? Okay, sorry, it will be linked list. Here it will also linked list. You can see here it is behaving in the same way, right? 30, 40, 50, 80, 30, and next time one is removing, one is getting updated, two more new mode is adding. But what are the additional features it is having? Okay, let's try to do this thing. Linked list dot add. You can see here, if you use add, it is coming to new additional features called add fast and add last, because it is both side open, right? So you can either add from the first thing or you can add from the last thing, as well as you can add in the indexing way. So let's try to add some first. Okay, so 1000. Okay, and in the last also add last is 2000. Similar way, removing also possible. Okay, before adding, try to remove it from here. LL dot remove. You can see here remove fast or remove last, right? Or remove fast of occurrence, right? So fast of occurrence is nothing in case you are having 33 different value, so it will try to remove the first 30. Okay, similar way the last occurrence, it will remove the last 30 in case the same value is there for multiple positions, right? So remove last, remove first. So that's why it is just the difference. Otherwise, array list and linked list behave the same way, but one advantage is that linked list is also implementing the DQ interface. So that is the reason it is whatever double-ended queue feature is also there, it is also getting it, right? Otherwise, the same way it will behave. You could see 2000 is getting last and 1000 is getting first, and removing first. So here after adding 200, it is not there because it is again removing, right? Because it is removed first. Sorry, what is the first element? 30. It is getting removed. Okay, so that's why these are the different additional feature. You can get it from the linked list. So Java linked list class use doubly linked list to store the element. It provides a linked list data structure. Java linked list can contain duplicate elements. It's also maintain the insertion order, right? In Java linked list class, manipulation is faster because no shifting need to be occurred because it's happened from the both side. So if you want to give some differentiation between the linked list and array list, right? So you can see that array list only implement the list interface, whereas linked list it's both the interface list and DQ. So linked list is fast compared to array list, right? And otherwise the it mentions insertion order and duplicate element, both the list behave in the same way. Then I will be giving you the example of the set, hash set. This is the also class, these are all the class. So it is implementing the set interface, okay. So it does not allow any duplicate. So suppose sometime I don't want to consider any duplicate element, right? So you have to use hash set. But the problem is that it does not contain the duplicate, but suppose say in case you are entering the value in some ordered way, but you whenever you are getting the output, no one can guarantee that you are getting the same order or not. That is the one problem, okay. To avoid this thing, you can use tree set, which will be implementing the sorted set interface, because it will be sorting order or in in the ordered way, ascending order, okay. So hash set does not allow any duplicate value, right? It allow null value, but it will be only one null value. It does not maintain an insertion order. The element would be returned in any random order. Every time it might get changed. So hash set is the best approach for search operation. Java hash set can be used to add element from another collection, means another collection framework. So I will be giving you some example of the hash set here. So let's try to create one hash set here. So let's comment it out this thing. So instead of integer, we will be using string here. You need to import from the Java load util package. So HS hash set. Now I can add some value hash set or suppose say add value means I can use some of the programming, all the programming language, suppose say C, C++, Java, Python, like that. So I will be adding one more C, so it will be duplicate, right? Now if you want to print the value, so we can use some enhanced loop, right? Okay, enhanced for loop. So I already mentioned you while loop, for loop, and this loop, but we can also use another for loop, which is the enhanced for loop. Okay, so I will be letting you know how to use the enhanced for loop here. One second. So enhanced for loop, how you can print it out? Instead of normal for loop, I will be using enhanced for loop. So that is the syntax you need to remember. First you need to give the data type. So what is the data type here? String is the data type. So string I will be giving it. Then you need to give some variable name. Suppose I will be using the variable name as object. Then you need to give the other variable name from where you are considering it. So that is the syntax. Then you need to give so and just new variable, which is the object. So this is a simple way you could see. You no need to give any size. So this is the enhanced for loop. It is called enhanced for loop. What the syntax? For loop you need to give the data type of the object. In case it is an integer, you need to give integer, right? It is a double, like that string. You are need to define a new object, and that object you are comparing to the other object, whatever is already there, or variable. Then you need to just print out the new object. So that's all. Let's try to run it and let's see. You could see here Java, C++, C and Python is coming. I have added 5. C, C++, Java, Python and C one more time. You could see C is coming only one time, and you could see here the order is not there, right? So I have added C, C++, but C is coming in the middle. So that is the two aspect. One is it will not contain any duplicate value, but the order will be random order. Okay. Suppose after that, if you want to add some operation, right, of the hash set, you can definitely do it, right? Similarly, if you want to after printing out, if you want to add some more value, right, hs dot add, you can add one more value here, right? String, say suppose say Ruby, I can add it Ruby, right? And if you want to remove something, hs dot remove, you can also remove it. I think a removal part you need to give the value here. So suppose say I want to remove Java, okay, then if you want to print them again, so Ruby will be added and Java will be removed here, but still your C will be unique, though you were added multiple times. You could see here. So this is the first part. Second part is C++, C, Ruby and Python. So Java was out. So that's why you can deal with the hash set. So it does not guarantee to give the output in the ordered way, but it does not allow duplicate value in case it is a null value. So it will be only one value it will take. So suppose say if you are adding two more null value, right? So only one null value it will take, but it can allow you to enter null value. You could see this is the second part, only one null value is there, though you have added multiple null values. So it will filter out the duplicate part, but ordered is it does not guarantee it, right? So to overcome this, we will be using tree set. Let's change it to tree set. So I am not changing the variable value. So let's keep it hs only. So I need to, otherwise I need to change it everywhere. So all are coming from the Java utility package. So what is tree set? Tree set is implementing sorted set. That is the reason it should give you sorted order, right? But it should be an ascending order. Unique element should allow. It does not allow null element. Okay, it does not allow any null element. So though you are adding it, but it will not be giving you. So that is the another differences is there in the tree set. So first try to check. Okay, it is not allowing the null value. So first is coming C, C++, Java and Python alphabetical order. Right, it will not allow any null value. Let's try to remove it. Let's try to run it now. So the second part also you can see it is ordered way, C, C++, Python and Ruby. So that's why it will be behaving. Okay. So any questions? from the set, hash set and tree set.
So one question on that advanced for loop. Can you please little bit explain?
Yeah, right. So enhanced for loop is nothing but very simple way. First you need to use the for word, right? Then you need to use the data type. So here data type is string, so I'll be using string. In case it is integer, so you need to use integer, right? Then I am defining a new object here, right, or variable. This is the object obj, and then I am taking the previous object colon previous object, right? That is the object I want to compare, and the new object I want to print it out. That is a simple thing.
So what we are trying to do here, like until when it will run this for loop?
Yeah, whatever value you already added, it will, there is no need to give any size. It will take the reference, that reference. With that reference you added the value, right? Or removing the value, you are updating the value. So it will take the reference of the variable, old variable.
So what in case of dynamic size? So for example, like here I am adding hs dot add to like 3 to 5 items, right?
Yeah, it does not matter because you are taking the reference of hs only, right? So that reference it is comparing.
So whatever hs has, like if I want to read the whole sheet, so I don't know how many it is.
Yeah,
So it will run until
right. It
3
will
days.
run until, right. It will run.
So the main benefit of creating this enhanced for loop is like you don't need.
Yeah,
to
it
use
is very
specific
easy,
things.
right? So in the most of the time, especially dealing with that collection framework, you will be using the enhanced for loop. It is very easy. Okay. So either you can use for loop or either you can use enhanced for loop. Okay. But especially for the collection framework, I think 99% time I have used the enhanced for loop only.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the another one I'll be covering, which is from the map interface, which is HashMap. So you are here, you are working with the single dimensional, right, array with the help of array list, linked list, tree set or hash set, whatever. But in case you are having 2 dimension, okay, so you have to deal with the HashMap. Means just like the telephone directory, right? So every telephone number is having some sort of phone number. So your phone number should have some consumer name, right? So phone number should be unique in nature, but your name cannot be unique, right? So whatever is kind of unique, it is considered as key, and whatever is other one, it is called as value. Okay. So that's why I have tried to give it HashMap, and here you need to provide 2 things, data type. One is the first one is the key, second one is the value, and then the variable name. That way, whenever you are adding, right, you need to use the put method, and then if you want to print out, right, you need to use the enhanced for loop, and with the help of variable you can get the value, and with the help of variable dot getI you can get the you can get the key here with the help of new variables, and you can get the value here. Okay. So Java HashMap club implements the map interface by using hash tables. It inherits abstract map class and implements map interface. One object is used as a key which will be unique in nature, and the other will be value. It can store different types, string key, integer value, integer key, string value, like that, or the same type, right? String, integer, you can do it. HashMap does not allow duplicate key, but allow duplicate value. That means a single key cannot contain more than one value, but more than one key can contain single value. Okay. The class makes no guarantee as to the order of the map. Okay, you cannot get the order also the same way. So that is the simple thing I have tried to protect here, right? So every kind of state in India or any other country, right, will have some language, local language. Any state can have multiple languages as well, right? So I will try to implement the same thing. You can implement the telephone directory, you can implement the student roll number and name, you can implement the, suppose if you want to implement the double and integer, right, it can be employee name and salary. So that's why it will deal with the HashMap. Okay, let's try to import the hash map. Then now with the variable I'll put dot put method here, you need to use it. So whenever you will calling, you can see one is string, one is the value, right? So suppose say I am using Delhi, the state name, and suppose say language is Hindi. In Delhi a lot of languages can be there, Hindi I am using, right? So say UP also Hindi, right? Say West Bengal, it's Bengali. Say Tamil Nadu, it's Tamil, like that. This is the fourth thing I have added entered, right? Now if you want to get the value of the key, this is the key and this is the value, key value pair combination hash map. Please be remember the key and value pair combination. So key should be unique in nature, but your value can be duplicate. But whenever you want to print something, it does not guarantee you the order of the insertion, right, in which order you are entering the data. Now I will be using some for loop here. Okay, let's try to use some for loop here. Okay, so for I'll be using here some string str new value, then I'll be giving colon here, and then whatever variable I am considering, right? So dot key set, because I want to get the key here, so you need to use key set here. So that is a simple way to give you the key set. Okay, then you need to print out. So it will give you key set, key. Only keys. You can see Delhi, Tamil Nadu, UP, West Bengal. This is not in the ordered way, but those are coming. Okay. In case you are giving some duplicate value, but it will also, suppose English, but it will only consider one unique way. Okay, you could see this coming 4. Then if you want to get the value here, string 1 dot get of okay, it will be same only, but here instead of key set it will be values, I think so. Let's try with that one. Okay, it's coming. So here it will be give you values. Okay, so hasmap dot values, so it will give same with the string 1. Let's try to run it. You could see here the values is coming here, English, Tamil, Hindi, Bengali. Okay, now if you want to get both the values and your key set, as a key value pair combination, you can also get it, keys and values. So same way I can declare new variable called string2, so it will be string2 here, and then I can give some gap here. So with the help of concatenation sign, right, two spaces will be there, then I can concatenate it, then here it will be let's see whether it's working or not. Dot get key set okay, okay, string dot get of that one. Just giving me the value here, but what is coming? Okay, dot values, sorry, dot values.
Daddy.
Okay, I think it will work. Let's try. You could see here Delhi, and the list of the value is coming here. Delhi, all the value here, and the Tamil Nadu, all the value is coming here. So it will be in different way. Let's we try once more time for the other one. So it will be set, right? It will be hmap dot get. It should work. Yeah, I think that is the thing. Okay, you could see this coming, right? Delhi English, Tamil Nadu Tamil, UP Hindi and UP Bengali. So if you want to get both the keys and values in the pair combination. Now say if you want to add some values or remove some values, right? You can definitely do it, right? So say age map, just like the other list, also dot add, sorry, put dot put more thing, say Karnataka, okay, Tamil Nadu already done, say Assam, Assami language, Asmia, right? I think Asmia something called. Okay, so or maybe Tripura is also Bengali. Now already added. Now if you want to remove something, age map dot remove. Yeah, object key you need to give it. Either you can give the key or value here. Suppose say key will be 2. Let's try to see whether it's getting removed or not. And then if you want to replace something, okay, either you can give it or maybe you can give it that value also. It will also work. Or age map dot replace. So what is the initial part you want to replace it here? Suppose say Tamil Nadu, initial value was Tamil, but I want to change it to English because Tamil Nadu some lot of people used to talk in English, right? So after that, if you want to check, right? So right now we can comment out everything. This part I can comment out. Let's try to run it. So initially 4 was there, we have added 1, we have replaced 1 and we have removed 1. So it will be still 4. You can see Delhi was there, right? Tamil Nadu has been replaced with English, Tripura added and UP is removed, right? So that's way you can deal with the hash map. Any questions? Is it good?
So hash map will use where
Yeah, right. Primarily, whenever there is a key value pair, so we'll be using hash map. Okay, instead of only one part, right? We can have some key value pair. So during the framework, real-time framework, sometime you need to have some key value pair. So you'll be using it right now. No need to worry. But just like I mentioned, right? Just like the combination of the state or country, or suppose country capital, roll number and the name of the student, right? Employee name, salary. We need to store something called hash map.
so dictionary also we use for the key value pair, right?
Yeah, dictionary is used in Python only, not in Java.
Oh, is it?
So whatever list interface we are using, right? So those are, I think, in the Python. Those will be kind of dictionary and other. Right? I forgot the name. Yeah. So dictionary is similar. Yeah. List, right?
Yeah,
List.
list also in the Python.
Yeah, list is also there, right? Yeah, list is in the Python, just like kind of tuples is there in the Python, right? Yeah. Okay.
List, tuples,
Yeah, right.
all these things.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. So that are the different collection framework important part. So
So in place of dictionary, we will always use hash.
right, hash map. Yeah, hash map, right. Okay. So these are the very important thing you'll be using, but it is very complex type, so it will not easy to get it. But if you just recapture these 3 slide or maybe the objective of each and every slide, right, you can definitely get clear of view. I can guarantee. So I have tried to give example and whatever possible bullet point I have tried to give it. I think that will help you to understand the collection framework. Okay. The last topic for today's session will be threading or multi-threading in Java. So what is threading? So what does it mean by thread, right? So suppose I am giving you simple example first. Let's try to complete understand it. Okay. So suppose say you need to eat 20 samosa. Okay. So you are the one people. So you will be eating one by one, right? So it will take huge time. Sometimes you will not able to eat even 10, 20 samosa. Okay, it might be problem. But in case there are 5 peoples,
Another, can you please repeat the previous line? I could not hear.
yeah. Suppose say in one particular room there is 20 samosa, okay, or sweets, okay, 20 rasagalla, okay, or 20 samosa, and suppose you are the one person, so you will be eating one by one, right? After eating one, after digesting again, you will go for the second, third, fourth, like that. But I have given 5 persons, right? So what happens? So 5 person will eat. In case I have given 9 persons, so what happens? 9 person will eat one by one, and then again another 9 they will pick, and the remaining 2, so 2 person can only eat, right? In case you think that one rasagolla can eat only one person, no divided can be possible. Similar way for the threading also, one task need to be completed by one thread. Okay, so there is no kind of that multiple thread will take the same task, that is not possible. so they can go for the integer way, not in the double or floating way. Okay, so multi-threading is a mechanism that allows concurrent execution of two or more part of a program for maximum utilization of the CPU. Each part of such program is called thread. Threads are lightweight process within a process. Threads are independent. If there occurs exception in one thread, it does not affect the other thread. It uses a shared memory area. So just like the example I have given, right? 5 members are eating 20 rasagolla, 20 samosa. So 5 members at different point of view they are eating it, right? So out of 5 members, everybody taken one rasagolla, and one person, other friend is calling one person. So one person will go out, but it does not guarantee that other 4 person also will go out with him. So that is the reason every thread is independent, right? Okay. So here what happened? So 5%, so 5 rasagolla taken. Right now 4%, so again 4 rasagolla will be taken. So again one person go for the washroom, suppose say. So another only 3% will be there, right? So 3% will completing. Again one person can join, or 2 more person can come. You can invite. In case you are not able to take them, right? So that's why each and every unit will be called as thread. So they are the very lightweight process within the process. Okay, it use shared memory area. So whenever you want to use the thread, either you can extend the thread class available in Java, or you can implement the runnable interface, because you know in case it is interface you have to implement the interface, right? So if I consider the thread life cycles, it is new, runnable, running, waiting, dead. New means you are creating just any class using the thread class. It remains in the state till the program start the thread. It is known as born thread. Runnable, in this phase the instance of the thread is invoked with start method. I will let you know why it is different from the normal other part. The thread control is given to the scheduler to finish the execution. It depends on the scheduler whether to run the thread or not. So what is scheduler? Scheduler is the place where all the thread will be there, just like the room, right? I am defining the place. Similar, scheduler is the place in the shared memory area where all the thread will take place, right? They will sit, and based on the program structure, right? You can some thread can come, some thread can sit idle, some thread can be destroyed after completing the work. All this stuff can happen. Then running. When the thread start execution, the thread status is changed to running state. The scheduler select one thread from the thread pool, right? Okay, and it starts execution in the application. So thread pool is the place where it will be there, and scheduler will be taking or defining the role which thread will take into the actions, right? On which thread will sit idle, like that. Waiting. Suppose in case suppose say you are having only 5 work, right? Okay, and you are having 3 threads. So definitely 3 threads came into the picture, but sometime some of the work has some dependency, right? Okay, so that other thread need to wait, right, before proceeding because of the dependency. So they will be in the waiting state, right? Dead state is one the thread is completing the execution, right? They need to be terminated, otherwise they will be taking some area or space, right? Because of that space your system flow will be slow. In case every day 10 thread, 5 thread, 100 of thread is getting created and they are not completing or their life cycle, right? So definitely they will be taking some space, right? Just like the temp file. So you need to remove your temp file, right? Otherwise it will increase your memory in your laptop or desktop. Okay, so they need to be terminated. That is called dead state. After starting a thread, it can never be started again. Once this thread is started, you cannot start it again. Okay, you can halt it execution, but you cannot be started again. If you try to do so, like it will throw some exception. So for every Java program, in case you do not have any thread defined, but by default one thread will be pictured, which is nothing but the main thread. Okay, so let's try to understand the thread. So let's create a class. Already created a class here, right? So This is the thread class available in Java. Okay, I will be creating a current thread. This is the current thread equal to thread dot current thread. So that is the main thread by default dot current thread. If you want to take the properties, everything you can take it. So you can get the name of the thread. Dot get name, ID, priority, class, everything. So you already get the name here, you can get the priority. I can get the ID of the thread. I can check whether the state here, what is the state of the thread. I can check the thread group. I can check whether thread is alive. Dot is, you can see there are a lot of things. Is daemon, is alive, or is interpreted. I can check it, right? Let's try to run the code. Let's see what is happening here. You can see the name of the thread is main thread, priority is 5, right? ID is 1, status is runnables, right? Because of the life cycle, right? It is runnable, right? From the new to running, runnable to running, okay? Just about to start because no other task is you are working, okay?
So how does priority defines here?
It is taking the default one. You can set the priority because it is the main thread, right? So it is taking the default priority. Okay, you can change the name, priority, everything. I will be showing you. Alive is true. There's now, if you want to change the priority here, what you need to do? You need to do current thread dot set. You can see set name. Right, I can change the name, suppose say test thread. Instead of main thread, I can change the name as test thread. Dot set. So these are the thing it can be changed. You can suspend it, you can resume it, right? You can get the state of the thread. You can change the priority here. Suppose say I am changing the priority to 10. And after that, if you want to check again the name and the priority, you will be seeing the differences here. So it will be, you need to set it. Okay, you can see the name got changed, priority got changed, right? So that's how you can deal with the thread, the default thread.
And also, can we create a new thread?
Yeah, I will be showing you. No need to worry. Then how can you create it thread here? So whatever class you will be creating, you need to extend. I already mentioned, right? So threads can be created by two ways. One is extending the thread class. One is implementing the runnable interface. Okay. So that whatever class I have created, I need to extend to thread class. Here I no need to remove even. That's fine. Extends extends thread class. Okay, I think that's all. Then you need to, whenever you are extending the thread class, you need to create a method called run. That is the difference of the thread. With those methods, you need to start the thread. So thread will not behave in the same way. You need to remember the life cycle first. New, runnable, running, waiting, dead. And how you are creating the thread? Extending the thread class. And whenever you are created, you need to find in the run method. Okay. So I will be creating your method called public void run. is the return type. Suppose here I can give something ISO ISO. So it started to run the code. Okay. So that is the part I am doing. Now whatever you need to do, so whatever class you have created, you need to create an object for instance here, right, for the thread. So I will be creating an object for instance here, suppose say T1 equal to new, that is fine, right. After that I can call that one with the help of start method. Okay. So here that is the difference, right. We are calling the start method, but your run method will be called here. So that is the difference of the, in the thread. So it is a default thing from Java. Okay, I am not writing here by myself. Okay, so that is the concept of thread. If you want to run it, so you could see the run method it will call. Output will be coming. You can see thread started to run it, right. Now once the thread is started, right. If you want to start it again, so it will not be allowed you. You could see illegal thread state exceptions. You cannot run it. So what you can do? You can create multiple instances of the thread, and then you can run them. You can start them. Okay. So
Multiple instance means multiple objects.
multiple thread, right. So this is a thread class, you can create multiple thread here. So one of the thread is multiple instance of the thread, right. So that is also thread, right, because you could see here it is coming.
So as soon as we'll start method will invoke, so thread will be
Run status, right. After that you can change the status here, right. So there are a lot of methods is there. You can start, hold them, right. You can okay, let's try to put here. Let's see what other thing is there. Destroy them, right. You can get the name, ID, priority even here, same way, right. You can interrupt them. You can daemon, make them daemon. You can sometimes join them. You can resume them, right. You could see you can start and stop. So that are the different thing you can do. Lot of thing you can do. So there are a lot of methods that you can interrupt them.
Okay, Radha, can you please? Actually, I am not getting a.
Yeah, tell me.
Okay. I will create the thread. I will see whether thread is running and not. What is the state of the thread? Okay.
Yeah. So what is the importance? Actually, thread will be used for the parallel testing, right? Because in case you are using only one thread, you can run it either one OS and browser combination, but you would require multiple thread to run it multiple browser and OS combination in the same time. So that is the use of multi-threading. So unless you are implementing the multi-threading, then how you will do the parallel testing in case it is required, right? In the multiple browser OS combination.
Okay. So in case of multi testing,
right. Parallel testing. Okay. In case of parallel testing, it will be required.
Testing and
Right. Sorry.
cross browser.
Yeah, right. Cross browser testing or multiple OS at the same time. Yeah, right. Same time. In case you want to open in the IE, Chrome, and yeah, I will showing you in the test engine. No need to worry. Okay. So that part.
So, okay. These things we will be using in the framework.
Yeah, right. Whenever I will covering test engine, that will be there.
Yeah, maybe there we can clear the concept like how in run. In actual time or how in.
No. So that is the part that is definitely that exactly thing will be not be used, but the concept will be used. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, there,
So you need to
we can
first,
see
right. Difference how you are doing the thing with the different kind of thread change, right? If here you need to. So this is the inbuilt part I am telling you. So how the threads work, but definitely in the framework also you need to just add it, right? Only the component called thread equal to 2. So it will take through thread. In case thread equal to 3, it will try to run in 3 different way. right? So until you are right now clearing the concept, then how you will understand? So you will understand only you need to change, add one term called thread, and you need to add it equal to 2 or 3. But that will not be the idea, right? So that is the reason whatever will be really required in the framework on the Selenium, that part I will be trying to cover it here. Okay, in the Java
so
topic.
there also we will create the thread, everything, or
No, 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 we will not create, but you will be using called syntax called thread equal to 2, thread equal to 3, like that.
okay.
Okay, so it will behave that way.
So somewhere it will be defined, right? Means without creating, how will
Because you already know, because we are not the Java developer, right? We are the automation tester, right? So definitely some of the things we will be using from the, just like the UI level also. Though we are developing our script, still some of the part will be using. Already framework is already developed, because you are not test engine, you are not developing test engine, right? Because test engine framework you are already using. Maven is already there, so you are not developing Maven. Instead of that, you are trying to use the features already available for the Maven or already available for the test engine. So that is the reason you are only adding the syntax, and that syntax is working. So you do not know how it is working, right?
yeah,
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
So that is the one part. Another part I already mentioned, you need to use the implements, right, keyword, and you need to use just only you need to change implements and runnable. Here I am just changing it here. Let's see. This is the interface available runnable. Right, so here if you want to give some printout using for loop, so you can also do it. Okay. So that is the part I want to do it here. So I have changed it. Now I will be creating. So in case you are using interface, so definitely first you need to create a object here, right, for the class here, same way. So C1. Okay, then you need to create a thread class. Sorry, I mean that is the instance you need to use for the thread. So thread t1 equal to new thread. Here you need to provide that one. Otherwise the same way. Then you need to just start it, t1 dot start. So it will behave in the same way. You can see this coming, right? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So only difference is because you are using the interface. So these are the two way you can create the thread. I have already given it, right? One is extending the thread class, one is implementing the runnable interface. Then the last one from the thread is called daemon thread. So why daemon thread is required? I already mentioned the life cycle whenever we are going for like new runnable running, right, or interrupted or something like that. Sometime it need to be destroyed. Otherwise, they will be occupying the memory, and it will be your process will be system slowness. There will be some slowness in your system. So you need to destroy them, right? So daemon thread is very low priority thread that runs in the background to perform such tasks as garbage collection in Java. So who does it? Daemon thread does it. Okay, because though it is not, you no need to remember, but in case anyone asks you question, right? So how did you just clear the kind of stuff, right? Any kind of thread you are creating, so it will slow on the process how you will be doing it. So you can say that daemon thread already there in the system, Okay, even sometime few thread I can make them daemon thread, so that like those thread will be in the do the garbage collection part, right? So definitely, so in case only one thread is there, you cannot mark them as daemon thread, otherwise it will be called create the problem. In case you are having only at least two threads, the one thread you can make it daemon thread, so that that thread will clear the other thread once they are doing their work, right? Okay, so in case if you want to set some thread as daemon thread, you need to use thread dot set daemon, right? If you want to check is daemon is not, is daemon. So that is the simple part, right? So once the thread is already started, you cannot make them to daemon thread. Before starting, you have to make them daemon thread. Okay, so let's try to do it here. So instead of the for loop, I will be using some part called for to check the daemon thread. The run program itself, I will be using a if loop to check whether thread is daemon thread or not. If thread dot current thread dot is daemon, right? Then what happens? So it will print you daemon thread is like running the lines of code. Otherwise, else it will be the default thread or normal thread, right? Normal thread is running the lines of code. So that is the definition I have made in the void class. Now here, so I have already created one part, so let's try to run it. You can see normal thread is running the lines of code because I did not define the thread as daemon thread, right? So let's try to set it daemon thread dot set daemon, right? You can see here you need to change it to true. Now let's try to run it and let's see what is happening. I think it will not allow because it's only one thread is there, you cannot set it to daemon thread. Okay, you could see nothing is coming here. Okay, because one thread you cannot set it to daemon thread, so you need to create one more thread, right, which will be T2. C2. Okay, so I am starting it again. So here two thread, one thread I am changing it to daemon thread, one thread I am normal thread. So you could see output is coming. First one is normal thread is coming because this is normal thread. With daemon thread we did not set. Second thread, after creating it, I have changed it to daemon, then I am starting it. So daemon thread is running the lines of code. But if you run them, start them, after that if you want to set them, so it will throw the error. Once it is started, you cannot change it to daemon thread because it is already started, it is running, right, from the runnable status. You could see error message will be coming. You could see error message is coming exception thread. So both this normal thread will be treated as normal thread only. So that's why you can deal with the thread. This is the high level part I have tried to give in. Lot of things is there, but if you know this concept, basic concept of the thread, it will help you in the parallel testing. Okay, so concept is very required. Otherwise, right, you will not understand why it is happening, how it is happening. The basic type of kind of confidence I want to give you, which of the module, which of the area will be really used much in the, especially for the framework part, right? So let's try to recapture one more time. So I already know, right, how to create the file, how to create the folder. So file class is already there in the Java, right? With the help of a file class and the make directory, you can create a directory or file folder, and with the help of create new file, you can create a file there, right? And with the help of can read method and can write method, you can check whether the file is readable, writable. You can check the length, name, whether the file is exist. You can, with the help of delete method, you can remove the file, right, or the folder, right? If you want to set the text read only, you can do it also for the file with the help of set read only. If you want to write the data, you need to use file writer and the buffer writer. If you want to read the data, you have to use file reader and the buffer reader. The collection framework, the main kind of aspect is like interface implementation of the class and the algorithm. This is the collection framework high level part. There are a lot of interfaces, classes is there, right? So the lot of list set, sorted set, queue and dequeue. These are the different interfaces available in the collection framework. All are implementing the collection interface, and the collection interface at the end of the part it is implementing the iterable interface, right? Array list is nothing but it can contain duplicate elements, but it does it also maintains the insertion order, but it's only one way. Whereas linked list also same way it will behave, but it will kind of add and removal can be done in the both way, because it is also implementing the dequeue interface. Hash set, it does not allow your duplicate value. It all can have one null value, but does not guarantee to give you the sorted way, right, or the ordered whatever you have entering. Whereas T set will give you the ascending order value, right? It cannot contain any null element. It will also give you the unique value. Whereas HashMap, for the kind of key value pair combination, you can use HashMap. So key will be in unique and values can be common, right? So a key and value can be string, int, or int string, or string int, like that. And multi-threading, in case if you want to perform kind of operations in multiples browser, primarily multiples worker, multiples kind of using multiple different processes, multiple processes if you want to run at the same time. So definitely multiple thread can be in pictures, right? So thread can be created with the help of extending the thread class or implementing the runnable interface. Life cycle is first new, then runnable, running, and sometimes can be waiting. After the life cycle is completed, you need to dead them, or you need to terminate them, right? So by default, there will be main thread will be there. Okay, daemon thread is nothing but to for the especially for the garbage collection. Once the particular kind of thread is completing their work, so you need to terminate them, right? So that your system will be very, otherwise your system will be slow, right? So that is the different topics I have tried to cover today. Thank you.